I'd like to call the meeting to order. First is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started this evening, I just want to go over a couple things that has happened in the last few days that affect the county. First one is, as you're aware of, we received our new ambulance, which is a 2024 model, and it came in on Thursday. And I want to thank the hospital, the EMS service, the council, the commissioners. They allowed us to use the tribal funds in order to pay the majority of the cost of it. And one other person that has played a key role in the background since he first accepted the job as the medical director. And I'm speaking of Michael Dahm. He came on board February the 1st, and I got a call from him wanting to meet us at the commissioners, and I think he was at our meeting the 1st of February. He has since, I think, met with the council. He's met with the fire departments. I think he's met with Alan, and he has met with, or at least discussed some issues with Dr. Markram and the hospital. And I think he's really taken an active role in trying to expand our health services and offerings. And we met with Jared Stimson early on in January about some financial issues, and he said, we need an ambulance. And Jared checked with Deaconess in 18 months to 2 years before we could get one. Michael came on board, and he didn't necessarily have the answers, but he had the people he could call. And they found one in Tennessee, which was a remount that we could get. And that was at the beginning of February. And it was delivered March the 14th. So I have to say, everybody says government can't move. Well, we actually moved in that case. Within 45 days or so, we had, from the day we found it, or the day he actually came on board, we actually have an ambulance here in the county, a new one. So I want to thank him for his effort that he did. And I also want to remind others that always say, well, we'd like for our kids to come back, and I think that is the number one goal. If they would come back and join our community, that would be great. But in his case, he is from our community, and he is not moving back here, but he still has a passion for our community. And he has just went out of his way to work to make Perry County a better place. And I want to thank him for that. So,
Very smart.
the other item that I have on here is the governor signed our piece of legislature over the weekend that frees up the special legislation that was restricted for its use. So we now can use it for several other projects that the county is looking to move forward with. So it was signed, so that money now will be available for such as the courthouse expansion. So it came through. Next thing up is we need to approve the agenda. Is there any additions?
Yeah, Randy, I'd like to add, we had a security meeting last week, and I'd like to add that to somewhere down the list here.
Where's your preference, Randy?
Um,
Pick a spot. It doesn't matter.
Let's just go right after the minutes. How's that?
Okay. Security. Any other changes, modifications?
Yes, I would like to update the new fence on the animal shelter, and there's an updated estimate on that too.
Let's just put you right underneath the security then.
Okay.
Any other additions and modifications? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the agenda as modified.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
First thing up is public comment. And no one signed up. So Tara?
I had all my paperwork on that heavy box and it's in my other vehicle.
That happens, it's okay. I just wanted to give like a quick update and just kind of talk for a brief minute about why this is so important to us. As you guys know, I came to you in October of 2023, asking for permission to apply for the $10,000 Homeland Security grant that would partially fund a Safe Haven baby device for our county. I wanted to ask you guys first because it would require a building modification at the Armory Annex. So to me, that felt appropriate. I am proud to say that we did receive approval of that grant with the location being at the Armory Annex. The additional cost of the device, contractor fees, and any alarm fees would be fully covered by the health department using other means of funding. So this project would cost the county $0 additional dollars. As of November 2023, there were over 100 devices in Indiana. While this may sound sufficient, it is important to know that most surrenders do not happen in the county in which the mother resides. That's why it's crucial to provide any access points. I know Spencer County just got their box. Hopefully we can follow behind. In 2021, 31 babies were illegally placed in dumpsters, found in backpacks, and discarded in other dangerous locations. 22 of those 31 were deceased. That's why it's very important to us. So I'm here asking if, once we work out the location at the Armory Annex, which I know we've kind of been working on, if we can go ahead and proceed with this, please. I am going to the council meeting on March 28th to talk to them about it too.
And Terry, you're under a relatively tight.
You got it, because those grant funds have to be expended by June 30th of this year or else we lose it. And the box, once we say, hey, yes, number one, they will not build the box until we pay the invoice because it is such a large expense. It is a huge ask of the company. So once we pay it and they start building it, it is 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks before we're even ready to put it in the wall. So that's why we're kind of, time is of the essence, if you will. And this has been, we talked initially in October. This has been 5 months of research, trying to find a good location, talking to other counties that have a box in place and asking like, hey, what's working well for yours? What isn't working? Because we want to make sure that once this device is in place, it is being used sufficiently and it's safe and it's in a great location and it's, accessible.
Who will be doing your construction work there?
Once we get to that point, we can get different bids and see.
I mean, locally, or is
Yes.
it one company?
Yeah, it
that
can be
comes and
anybody
does it?
locally. It has to,
Okay.
We would find our own contractor and.
Okay, I was just wondering, I didn't know if there was one company that went around and done this all over
Right.
the state or what.
You said June 30th, that the grant. Does it have to be in place, in working order at that time?
Basically, the invoice just has to be paid because that grant through Homeland Security is a reimbursable grant.
Okay.
So we would expend the funds first and then be, refunded that $10,000.
Okay.
So we won't have a problem needing that. Okay. That gives us a
Shouldn't, we
little
just
more-
really need
little more
to,
time.
it'll give us a little bit more time, yes. I do feel like we've been working on this for 5 months behind the scenes, trying to get everything in place before we could even really present it, to make sure that everything was being done appropriately and correctly. And we were educated to stand here in front of you and say, hey, we think this is a good idea and here's why. So basically, I'm just kind of asking for your permission to continue on. I know that you guys can all come out if you would like to know. Steve Hauser is not here tonight, but he has played a crucial role in trying to figure out the location of this,
I
the
seen your
logistics of it.
picture.
Yes. And I sent the contractor's guide to you guys so you could see exactly what the box looks like, what it requires.
Have you got your approval letter on the grant yet? Can you send all that over? Because that's
Yes.
something that we'll need before we can pay the invoice.
Sure.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
In the event a child is dropped off in the box, what is the legal requirements? How do you handle it? How is that? I'm just curious as to.
So the Safe Haven law in Indiana relinquishes the mother or the caregiver from any sort of legal ramifications as long as the baby is placed unharmed.
But,
And they
I
are
mean,
30 days or less old.
then is there adoption agency that
We can,
actually
at the-
steps in? Or
At that
is it-
point, the baby would be sent to the ER for evaluation, and then DCS would be contacted to take placement of the child.
Okay.
And
And
then,
we have the legal right then to
yes,
have the child adopted and,
it would then, from then it would go from DCS on. It's all
Mhm.
listed in the Indiana code.
just curious.
Well, I have my permission.
Any other questions?
No, I think it's a fantastic idea. I hate that we have to do this, but
You know,
we need
this-
to be doing
This
this. I
is
mean,
what society's come to.
Yeah.
Right
You know,
here.
Infant mortality across the United States, especially in Indiana, the infant mortality rates are terrible.
Mhm.
This is just one thing we can do locally to combat infant mortality, but it's more at a broad spectrum because really it's accessible to anybody in or outside of the county. So thank you guys.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I never even considered the fact that I'm thinking local.
Sure.
And chances are, I just don't see a big need locally, but people driving in to get out of the county that they're
Yeah.
actually in and
They feel
they may
safer
be
that way,
looking for a location. to
Nobody
safely
knows
drop
me,
off.
nobody sees me.
right?
So I can see that need.
How will you, in the future, once this is in place, how would you get it in the public that we do have one? I mean,
Sure.
you don't want to, promote it, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
And basically it is a promotion. It's all around. So once the company, the Safe Haven company approves builds the box and we get it in, they come down and essentially bless it for use. We have to go through a rigorous
Mhm.
testing phase for 7 to 10 days prior to ensure that the box is working as we said it would. The alarms, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, more than I ever thought, because it is so critical that somebody's got their hands on that baby in less than 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So once we, get the box placed, they will come down. We will invite news outlets. And then on the box itself, it has the crisis phone number for mothers or caregivers to call if they are in need of assistance. Maybe they're not ready to surrender their baby, but they need crisis help.
Mhm.
So they
Different
offer that
choices.
24 hours a day.
There's always choices.
Yes. Yeah. So once it's in place, we will be on the Indiana map, on the Safe Haven Indiana map. We will have a little pin showing that we have a location.
Good.
We will make sure we promote that as well.
I entertain a motion to accept the baby box as, I guess, part of the health department's initiative.
I said,
I'm
I
asking.
make a motion.
All right.
I'll second that
We
motion.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right,
Thanks, Darrell.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Next item up is the minutes from 3/4/2024. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Randy, you're up with security.
Yes, the security committee met last week and we went over a lot of things. We went over on March 8th, had the courthouse training here. That was a success with all the employees and especially some of the new ones that hadn't went through it before. So Alan gave an update on that. But we got discussion for future plans for security. And it was brought up, we would like to have an executive committee with the commissioners just to more or less get them up to speed on the security of the courthouse. And the reason for the executive committee, it is security. And we want to keep that to ourselves as a security committee, what we're looking at in the future. So I would like to request an executive committee after the next commissioner meeting, April 1st.
Do an executive meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So it'd have to be posted prior to that. So, and that will be us 3 commissioners and the security committee in that meeting. It is just mainly informational to the commissioners, what we're looking at, and maybe we can get some thoughts from both of you also.
Now, what's the date? Would the date be on that?
It'd be April 1st, I think, is our scheduled commissioner meeting that morning,
Mm-hmm.
and it would follow our regular commissioner meeting
In the morning.
in the morning,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Let us advertise it to start immediately after the adjournment.
Yes, that
I'm
would
not
work.
exactly
'Cause
sure.
I hate to put a time frame because we don't know how long the
Exactly.
first
And
meeting
it
will
is
last.
an executive session, so the public will not be able to attend.
Yes. Alan, do you have anything else from the committee?
No, you got it all.
And where will it be? In here?
We'll go to the back.
You'll
Go to the back room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Randy. That's all
I don't have a
on
problem with that, so we can schedule that. Rebecca?
Oh.
Animal shelter.
Okay. The fence, the pin is done outside, at the animal shelter. The contractor, Mr. Boyles, he took it upon himself to go to the planning and zoning board to check lines and where everything was up there, so he didn't want to be on city property and have to take a fence down. So he got with them. So the fence, the pin itself went further back toward the creek. So he went, he put that up and it was at a cost of $600 more. But I have his revised estimate and I'll get it to you, Chris.
Okay.
And, but it seems to be working out okay, doesn't it, Molly? I mean, it gives the dogs exercise and they can run. It's a pretty good sized pen. So,
Well, we shortened that one in the back.
Yeah.
And now we're up to the code.
you got it away from that door, that one in the back. But you still have a small pen back there if you need it, correct?
Yeah,
When you walk out the door to the
we make them
left.
smaller.
Yeah.
So when you come out that very back door,
You're open. Yeah. But I was just wanting to
We probably should make a motion to
approve
approve.
the revised.
Yeah.
Additional funding.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think what it did, it just it moved it back, made it a larger area.
right.
And while you're putting the fence up, it made sense.
It made sense to go ahead and put it up, get as much room as he could with that and made it legal so we'll know we're not on city property.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that's what I'm asking for.
Well, I'll make that motion to spend the extra.
I think it came up to about 44 or 4,600. I believe 4,600 is what it was.
Okay.
With everything, yes. But he called me and talked to me about it. And while they were there doing it, might as well go ahead and do it so we don't have to come back and take part of the fence down and put.
Yeah. It was cheaper to do it while I was
Right,
there and
right.
wait, yeah, so.
And this is being funded out of the restricted
Right.
animal shelter fund.
Mhm.
So it can only be used for that.
Yep. And like I say, the dogs can go out when they don't have the volunteers to walk the dogs. But there's a difference in walking the dogs and letting the dogs run and be dogs in that big pen. And Molly explained also that if you take these dogs and you put them in a small cage, kennel, whatever, what have you, and nobody walks that dog is going to become not a good dog. It's going to, it's not a good situation. And it will, I think it will make the dogs more adoptable when they're out playing and people see them. And it's a good thing. And it's been needed.
We have a motion to accept an additional $600 funding for the fence. We have a second?
Yes.
I figured you'd do that.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the additional $600 charge for the fence expansion?
Aye.
Aye. Next item up, we have payroll. It's for March 11th, 2024, in the amount of $182,359.72.
I make a motion.
We have a motion
I'll second that
and
motion.
a second. All those in favor of approving the payroll?
Aye.
Next item up is for the March 11th, 2024, and it's payroll withholding in the amount of $39,289.00.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that
We
motion.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have health insurance claims in the amount of $83,799.24.
I'll make a motion.
Second that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And our claims for March 9th, 2024, it's accounts payable in the amount of $148,558.93.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that
A
motion.
motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item up is courthouse bids. And we accepted those at the last meeting. I did look it up. The one is actually for revisions. The primary bid is for revisions on the court side. Gets rid of some of the split doors so that they're a little more secure. And that funding will be provided through the ARP funds, which has been approved previously. Then the other items were one for putting key fobs on the remainder of the doors in the courthouse, putting some glass protection in the clerk's office, and then also expanding the cameras for the remainder of the courthouse. And as of now, we do not have any funding for the other three optional parts of that bid. My thoughts are that we would be approving it subject to the security committee being okay with what's going on the court sides, because it's for security and they need to be active in that decision. But the funding has been approved, so
But we can talk about that in the executive meeting.
we can, or whenever they get together the next time, they can look through the proposals, and if they have no problem with it, then we can move forward with that part of it. So if you're good with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve this $56,000 and some change for the courts renovation, subject to the security committee approving what's anticipated to be done.
And we'll be looking at other funding to try to do the rest of the courthouse.
We'll have to, now we have a general idea on what it's gonna cost us. You know,
Yes.
before, that's why I was encouraging them to go ahead and say, well, just put it in as an alternate.
Mhm.
Then we have, instead of trying to guess at what it would cost, we have an actual number, so we know what we're looking at. So we can approach that, as far as how we can secure funding and what we might do. So,
Well, I'll make a motion on the court side.
in other words, approving is subject to the security group approving.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item up we've got is we've had a rash of problems with our county vehicles. The Impala, I think, struggles.
Did it bite the dust?
I think it has some mechanical issues, and the age has got it, and I'm not sure that it's would be maybe a wise use of county dollars to even repair it. And then over the past week or two, we had the Tahoe that was involved with an accident up in Carmel, I believe is where it was at.
Was everybody all right?
Yes, everybody's okay.
But I think it has substantial damage also.
It's not reliable either.
It went.
Well,
Neither one of them are reliable.
they're older vehicles and for, again, putting people in and sending them to Indianapolis may not be the best thing we could do. And
I think a lot of it is too, they sit, they sit,
Yep.
and then,
I know, and they said it before, Chris has said it, you go out to use the vehicle, then it won't start.
Mhm.
Battery's dead or something, because they're not utilized that much. And I for one, we should be able to get some kind of, I'm assuming it had coverage for insurance, so we will get some payment out of that, but I would think we might want to just switch to a per mileage and let individuals submit their mileage and we
Might
compensate
feel
that
more
way,
secure driving their own vehicles.
rather than us
What about,
purchasing a vehicle.
what about the assessor when they go out and do
It
that?
was the assessor's vehicle.
Yes, that's what I mean.
yeah. I think that maybe we should keep one vehicle for in-county use, but a lot of people don't want to drive it when they're going out of town, just because the fact that you never know if it's going to start or not start up. I mean, maybe keep the Tahoe, or, I mean, that's your guys' choice, because
Is
I know
it
the
fixable?
assessor, it's cosmetic damage.
Oh, it's just cosmetic?
I mean, we haven't had it looked at, but it looks like mostly cosmetic. What would you say, Randy?
I haven't looked at it either.
Did they drive it back from Carmel? Did they? Okay.
We maybe want to go and find out what it would cost to repair it. And if not, if it's totaled or whatever the body shop people tell us, consider I don't know how many trips the assessor's office
I'm not sure.
takes.
either.
You
You
know,
can look
that
at the log.
would be the question, find out how
Mhm.
much it's utilized, because obviously if the battery's dead, they're not using it that much either. So maybe there's a, and I don't have that answer right now. It's something we could do to meet that need.
Maybe the next meeting, we can have Mindy to come in and see what her opinion is, how much they do use it.
If we could have a list of, what it's used for, and another alternative, maybe one of these sheriff's vehicles. I know Allen's fleet's starting to get some age on it. Maybe one of those would be suitable, for that purpose, to go into the county or something. We take the lights off of it though, Alan. Yes, maybe we don't.
We won't let them play with the lights
Yeah.
or the siren.
But I mean, it might be rather than trading it back in or something,
Yeah.
that might be a source
Yeah.
of and we're comfortable that those vehicles have been serviced, so that we're not buying something off the used market that might create.
We're sitting here and
problems.
got vehicles that's not being used enough, and Alan's over here got vehicles being used too much. We can't get to a happy medium.
Yeah, but that might be an alternative for us to look at too.
Chris, is there any way that, this is the first I've heard about this,
Mhm.
is there any way that we can be alerted or informed when an accident happens,
Sure.
when it happens, as when you find out,
Mhm.
just to let us know? Because,
Sure.
like I said, if somebody would have been hurt, I wouldn't have known anything about it.
Yeah.
But, it's not mandatory, but, it would be nice to know.
Yeah, I talked to him the day it happened and everything, and made sure everybody was okay, and they were able to drive the vehicle back, and talked to them when they got back. And then we've got the police report and everything last week, latter part of the week.
Okay.
So,
So I think where we're at, we'll get an estimate on repairing the Tahoe
Mhm.
and discuss that at our next meeting.
To find out some more
Possibly,
information, how
and
much it's
Chris, if you
used.
could find out, get us some logs before the meeting to
Yep.
get us an idea how much it actually is utilized. I guess strictly for the assessor, if we take the other people that take the longer trips and put them in a mileage situation, we just pay them for that.
okay, so we'll do.
Have that to consider.
The Impala, if you want to just declare it surplus, get whatever we can get out of it.
You mean the Impala?
Yeah.
I think we're to that point. In the past, I think we took him to Dixon and had him auction
Mhm.
for whatever it brings.
And maybe if it bring, whatever it bring, we can throw that at the Tahoe maybe to help fix it up too, if the insurance doesn't cover it. So.
We'll just find out, we'll have a deductible on it, so.
The only thing that's gonna change, just, because I'm sure this is, of course not, I'm sure, but most of the time now, in a county vehicle, when you come back from the trip, you gas it up, and of course, we're getting that discount with Circle S. So we're gonna have a higher expense on our travel
For
with
gas.
mileage reimbursement. But I
How-
think it will kind of,
How is that car and insurance and everything, it's through the commissioner's budget probably,
Correct.
is it not?
Mhm.
So there should be some funds there.
Yeah.
And what we want to make sure, and I can call Brad,
said not insurance.
that we're covered with the vehicles that the individuals are driving, because they're actually on county business.
Time.
Mhm.
And there's a name for that coverage. I suspect we already have it, but I want to confirm that we, so that there's not any liability out there. So
If we're paying them mileage, their own insurance should take care of it.
when you send somebody out for county business in their vehicle, you stand a chance of
Yeah.
having a liability issue.
That's true.
It's,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the coverage, but we probably have it already. But I want to make sure and confirm that if we switch over. Because in the past, I think other people have driven and have been given mileage.
Yes, they have been.
But it's basically you ask your employee to go out and carry out a task using their vehicle. But I don't think that's a big deal. We just need to make sure we got it. But if we're okay with moving the Impala along,
If it'll start, somebody needs to get it to Dixon's.
I'd entertain a motion to declare the Impala is excess and take it, I guess, to Dixon's and have him get what he gets out of it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right.
And then we'll collect additional information on the Tahoe and make a decision at the April 1st meeting.
Chris, I can get that for you.
So,
Okay,
I can get it over there. if he's giving it to you.
okay.
with that said, we're done tonight. Our next meeting is April the 1st at 9 a.m. And I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening.